Wow, look at all the beautiful people. Well, let's see here. Regional Director, Ms. Ismail. Good morning, beautiful lady. I love the salute back. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, we got, man, they got a slew of people still jumping on here real quickly here. Okay, okay. Wow, hold on, everybody. My camera went crazy. All right, Ms. Ismail, Regional Director. Did she do a wonderful job yesterday? Oh my God. She will be back with us next week, next Monday. Man, all these people jump. Next Monday, hold on, man, all these people are jumping in. Oh my God. We're up to 45 people. 40. All right, so next Monday, hold it, my phone is going nuts. So next Monday morning, she'll be back on us next Monday morning. That was such a blessing yesterday. Did we get, y'all give her one more hand, because show her some love from yesterday. Man, what a great call that was. I told her after I got the call, I talked to her about 5 minutes afterwards. I said, I don't know how you're going to top that, but God bless you. I got so blessed out of that yesterday. My God, I tell you what. Hey, listen, I'd like to thank Corey, comrade, joining us on the call today. Thank you, sir. Delilah, up there in Colorado, part of the bakery organization. Thank you. Mr. Harrison Mill, thank you so much for being on the call there in Fresno. Miss Marcia Carter, thank you so much in Fresno. Mr. Black, part of the bakery organization. Miss Pat Robinson out of Oakland, California. Thank you for joining us on the call. Mr. Winston Herbert, thank you so much. Miss Belinda Batiste, thank you so much. Mr. Wright is on the call today. Miss Tracy Gilmore, part of the bakery organization. Miss Caroline Baker, part of the bakery organization. Pat and Frank Bowman up there in Elk Grove, California. Here's a toast to your coffee this morning. Miss Natalie, thank you so much for joining. Melissa Vaughn, hey, young lady, how you doing? There's that smile. There's a wave back. Look at her. Woo, I like that picture in the background of the ocean. Okay, Mr. Hussein Ismail's trying to get, oh, yes, we got to let him in, definitely. Okay, man, the waiting room is just getting packed over here. Miss Eileen down there in San Diego, thank you, beautiful lady. She's amazing. And Miss Konahara over in Japan, thank you so much. We got four people from Japan on today. Look at Japan. Oh my God, thank you so much for joining. We have Mr. And Regional Director, I got to put my cup down. Regional Director, Mr. Julian Lewis, thank you so much for joining the call today. He was on our call yesterday. He's joining his group's getting on, and man, we're just building a solid organization. Is Mr. Bill Bailey on? That young man, I just have so much respect for that guy. He's always putting people in the business every single month. Is Mr. Tasha, see if Mr. Bill Bailey's on. Is he on? Check. He is. Mr. Bill Bailey, I want to salute you, sir. Every month you're putting IBOs in, getting customers every week. You are such a role model, man. You're going to hit RD so fast and RVP before we even know it. You keep up the good work. I just want to give you some props today because you're always on the call 100%, just who you are, man. You're just an amazing leader down there in San Diego. We appreciate you so much. And I know Mr. Lewis does too. Mr. Julian's always talking about you. So now I'm starting to brag on you. Hey, folks, we got a great call lined up. Last Tuesday, he brought a message that was so profound. It was so profound. It was so profound that Miss Ismail used it in her meeting yesterday and talked about it. And he talked about how to love yourself. How to what? Love yourself. See, when you get a leader who's got a message so strong that everybody remembers, that's powerful. And the week before that, he talked about who? Harriet Tubman. Everybody knows, because he's such a great storyteller. All good speakers are great storytellers. So I can't wait to see what's happening today. All these more people in the waiting room. So without further ado, we're going to hand it over to, wait. Another announcement here. Tomorrow morning, we have from the home office of Vivid, we got Mr. Anthony Miles Wood. It will be our guest speaker from the home office of Vivid up in Salt Lake City, Utah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Utah. And also this Sunday night in our training, we have the home office of Spears at 6:00 p.m. on here. So don't forget that tomorrow we got Vivid, and then on Sunday we got the home office of Spears, and tonight at 6:00 I will be doing the 1 through 10 tonight. So get your guests, get your IBOs, get your friends, get your enemies. We'll make them friends. Get them on tonight at 6:00 p.m. Pacific Coast time. I will be doing a 1 through 10 for the whole organization, everybody else. Well, what is so much with commercials? Aha, done with that. Without further ado, young man hails from San Diego, California. He's a great leader. He's a great father. He is a great, what can I say? I'm trying to not read my notes on him because he's just a great friend. Been knowing him for years. When I first met him in the penthouse of his upline, his leader, his upline mentor, and in a small group of people, and we're just in there, and I just flew in. They picked me up from the airport, took me to the penthouse, and from his leader's penthouse, he sat there and just took pages and pages of notes. And I told his sponsor, I said, that guy there is going to the top. You know why? He's got everything in him. He's coachable. And anything I ever ask him to do, he's right there with it. Anything I try to say, try this, he does it without question. And that's why he's done so great building a strong organization all over the United States and outside the country. Without further ado, Regional Director from San Diego, California, the one, the only, the incomparable, Mr. Julian Lewis.
Mr. Thomas, good morning, sir. How are you? Listen, before I get started, you guys can hear me okay? Okay, good. Before I get started, I need to let you know something. Mr. Thomas just shared something, and he said, without question, I was coachable. I want to let you know something. And Mr. Thomas, I want you to know this as well. It's easy when there's trust. It's easy when there's trust. And so without question, Mr. Thomas asked me to do something. I'm there because of how many times he's been there, not just for my organization, but all across the world. There are people that I've run into. He has no idea. I run into these people and they're like, oh, I was doing this. My mentor was this person, Mr. Thomas. Do you know who that is? And I said, of course I know who that is. And so all around the world, his name is mentioned as one of the greats in this industry, not just because of the money that he's created, but because of the people he's helped and the people he served. And if you think about life in general, those are the people that we remember, the people that served the many. And so thank you so much for leading with an example on how to serve people. I appreciate everything you do as a man, as a father, and I am so excited to be able to be on this call this morning with you, sir. So everyone else, welcome out. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Or good afternoon or early in the morning, wherever you are on the next day. I see you out there. I just want to say hi and that I'm excited to, like I said before, to be on this conference call this morning. I have a message that I want to share with all of you that I think is going to resonate. But before I do, I just want to give you a brief background on myself. For those of you that do not know me, prior to getting involved with this company, I was a senior systems engineer. So I was what's called a Cisco certified network engineer. And I was blessed because I learned something called, this old now, but back then it was brand new. It was called voice over IP. So I had a specialization in voice over IP when it was brand new. I was working with Bank of America. I was traveling all over the country. And that was great until my fiance and I found out we were going to have a baby girl. She would travel with me a lot. We would see a lot of the places in the United States that we wanted to. But then I realized something. She wasn't going to be able to travel like that. And if I didn't change something in my life, my daughter was going to grow up not knowing her father. And although I was making great income, it came at a cost. And so I was open-minded at that point to look for something different. What was different came through ACN. And it wasn't just ACN as a company. It wasn't just because we got paid on bills. It was because there was a system. See, when I grew up, I played sports, and our high school football team was one of the best in the state in California. And it wasn't because we had all of the fastest athletes. It was because we had an incredible, a remarkable system. And so I knew that systems, if you created systems that got you the result, that was easier because you could leverage the system. And so ACN had a powerful system. When I got involved, I was introduced to Mr. Ashland Bailey, who shared with me the ACN system. He got me squared away in Mission Valley, Starbucks, met me there, talked to me a little bit about what to do. I was off and running. I got to meet Mr. Thomas, and he just took me to the next level because he blew me away by what was simple. And it allowed me to be home for the last 14 years. My daughter is 14 years old. And all I can tell you is being coachable was important. And it's ironic that Mr. Thomas said what he said, because that's part of what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Okay. Matter of fact, that's the first part I want to talk about. And then, Natasha, the other part that I'm going to talk about, I think you're going to like as well. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is being coachable. And when I was brand new, I wasn't really coachable at first. Okay. Everything was new. Everything was new to me. And I had been in corporate America. So I was geared towards a corporate America mindset. I didn't have a business owner mindset. I didn't even have an athlete's mindset anymore, which would have been a lot closer to a business owner's mindset, because I started to buy into what everyone was talking about how you want to have, how corporate America was the way to go. So when I got involved with ACN, my mentor said, Julian, we need to write a list of everyone you know. And here's what I heard. My brain translated that. And I don't know if yours does this, but out of fear, my mind was trying to protect me. So my brain said, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's no way he could have meant a list of everyone. He couldn't have meant everyone. He's just probably trying to stretch you. So he probably meant write a list of the people you think would be interested, which was my brain's way of keeping me in my what? In my comfort zone. So I wasn't very coachable. And then I wrote my list. I wrote my list of everyone that I'd known since I've been since I've been here, translated everyone I thought would be interested. And I had a list of like 25 people. Okay. I'm 25 years old at the time, going on 26. I only had 25 people on my list. And my mentor looked at me and he said, Julian, are these all the people that you know? And I said in my mind, wait, before you answer that, he meant, are these all the people you know that you think would be interested? I translated it so I could answer yes. I don't know if you guys do that, but that's what my brain did. And I said, yes, these are all the people I know. And he looked at me like I was crazy, but he said, okay, let's go on to the next part. He said, we're going to call these people. And I said, crap. I'm thinking this in my mind. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm thinking in my mind, I don't want to call these people. What are you talking about? I don't want to do this right now. We're in a Starbucks. Why am I? This is going to be embarrassing. All of these thoughts are just cycling through, and I'm feeling anxious. I got anxiety. I'm like, why is this? I don't like this feeling. I haven't felt this feeling in years, since I was a kid. And so I started to think all these other weird things, because when you get frightened or scared, you get what? Fright or flight. Right. Fight or flight. I was trying to run, and most of you do too. So I'm thinking, how can I get out of this opportunity? I paid $500 because it was back then. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to do this. This is uncomfortable. And he stayed there and he focused his eyes. And anyone knows my mentor, his eyes can get pretty big when he's focused, and he looks down at you like this, and he just looks at you. And it's like he saw inside my soul. And I'm like, does this guy know that I didn't write down everyone? Oh my gosh. So long story short, I'm fighting him. He finally figures out, we finally determined my reason why. And my reason why was my daughter. And he asked me a question. He said, Julian, what would you do if someone was trying to stop you from getting home to your daughter? And I don't know if anyone's tried to get you to imagine something that's really close to your heart or really sensitive to you, but I started imagining that, and I started to get angry in that moment. Just think about this for a second. What would you do if you went to school and you found out a teacher was beating up on your kid? I want you to think about that right now. See, look at Mr. Thomas. You would get angry immediately. So I started getting angry thinking about someone keeping me home or keeping me away from my daughter. And then he said, Julian, what if it's you keeping you home or keeping you away? And I got angry at myself. as I should have because I wasn't being coachable. So there's this movie that that stands out to me all the time. And because I remember watching this movie. I'm an 80s baby. And so this movie was big for me. It was Karate Kid. You guys know that movie? I'm not talking about the one with Will Smith's son, because he was learning Kung Fu. That wasn't karate. That was Kung Fu. I'm talking about Karate Kid, Daniel Russo with the 27-inch waist, Daniel Russo. You guys know who I'm talking about? Little dude from New Jersey. And I love the story because it's a story of how I felt in network marketing. See, Daniel Russo and his mom moved from the East Coast to California. Why did they move? Because they were looking to have a new life. Isn't there times where we're in our own thoughts, or we're in our own life, and we're in our own everything, then we're thinking, man, we need to do something different, because if I don't move, if I don't get up, nothing's going to change. And so they moved to California. They wanted a new life. And when they moved to California in the summertime, right before high school started, Daniel was excited because if you know everything, my family is from the East Coast. All of my cousins, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, all that, they're from the East Coast. So anytime they hear about California, especially back when we were younger, they're like, oh my gosh, you live in California? They would get excited. So Daniel was so excited to see the beach. When he was at the beach, he met a girl. And he met a girl that was attached to a villain for an ex-boyfriend, okay? And the ex-boyfriend knew karate, right? He had blonde hair. He looked like California guy, but he was mean. He knew karate, and he was angry at Daniel because he tried to get at his girlfriend. And Daniel got beat up a few times. How many of you have gotten beat up by life a few times? Okay? So Daniel got beat up. There are some people that get beat up and they just decide to keep getting beat up. Daniel said, forget that. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to learn karate, right? And so Daniel decided, he didn't know about karate, just like a lot of us didn't know how ACN worked when we first joined. So instead of saying, you know what, I don't know what to do, he made some assumptions. He went and got a VHS tape. Does anyone know what that is? He got you guys remember having a rewind before you brought it back to Blockbuster, right? So he had a VHS tape and he popped it in his apartment, small apartment, and he started to learn karate. So he was in the corner. He's sitting there. He's like doing kicks. He's practicing kicks. And Mr. Miyagi, who were introduced at that time, is a maintenance man. Mr. Miyagi knocks on the door. He says, hey, I need to come check your stuff. Daniel lets him in, and Daniel's in the corner. He's focused. He's like, I'm not getting my butt kicked anymore. He's practicing kicks. Mr. Miyagi, before he leaves, he looks at Daniel's son. Little do we know that Mr. Miyagi is the karate master, but the karate master looks at what the kid thinks he's doing karate is doing, and what does he do? He shakes his head because he knows as a master that that's not karate. See, a lot of times in ACN, we think we're doing ACN, but Mr. Thomas as a master can look at what we're doing, just shake his head because he knows it's not ACN. You couldn't have told Daniel any different. He knew because he was doing kicks, because that's what we assume. See, oftentimes our assumptions destroy our success before we can even realize it. I want you to write that down. Oftentimes our assumptions destroy our success before we can even realize it. Good news for Daniel, he was a fighter. Here's what happens to a lot of us. This is so scary. Write this down. Assumptions are the #1 breakdown in communication. It's not what you're saying. It's what you're assuming that is not allowing you to receive the message properly. See the way you think. See, and I shared this with a leader recently. If for instance, if I'm talking to Natasha and I assume that Natasha is angry with me. If I assume Natasha's angry with me before I have a conversation with her, and she just says a sentence normal, I'm going to think there's some type of tone there or some type of attitude there because I'm assuming that she's angry. Now I can't hear what she's saying because of my own issues. It has nothing to do with Natasha. Natasha could have had an incredible day. She could have had an incredible week, and she's just saying something passionately, but because of my own breakdown, because of my own assumptions, I can't receive my blessing. Does that make sense, you guys? Thank goodness Daniel was open. So what am I trying to teach you? You have to be open-minded and you have to get rid of your assumptions. So Daniel made a mistake. He made an assumption. He thought he knew what karate was, but then he got his butt kicked again. That was the realization. He didn't know karate. Can we agree? That's easy. That's a good test. So he goes and tries karate. Karate doesn't work. Mr. Miyagi saves his butt. He jumps over the fence like a ninja, takes all the karate kids out. And Daniel's like, oh my gosh, Mr. Miyagi, can you teach me karate? And Mr. Miyagi's like, finally, he says, yes, Daniel, I'll teach you karate, right? So he decides he's gonna teach Daniel karate. Daniel's all excited because he's seen his VHS tape, but now he has a real live karate master that's gonna teach him what he thinks. The problem is the master is going to teach him the way the master knows how to teach. The student is trying to get the master to teach him or her the way they want to be taught. The problem is there are lessons that go along with the teaching that aren't just the actual karate. It's mindset. It's your ability to be coached. So Daniel gets all excited. He goes to Mr. Miyagi's house. He's ready to learn karate. First of all, I don't know about you, but I'm like, how does this maintenance man have all this property, all these cars? Maybe it's only me, but he goes to Mr. Miyagi's house and he's ready. He's ready. He's ready to learn karate. Mr. Miyagi says, he takes him over to the fence and he pulls out some paint. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And he says, you're gonna paint like this, Daniel, right? You're gonna paint the fence with form. And Daniel's upset. He's like, can't I just paint the fence? Up, down, up, down. That's it. That's it. And he's pissed. So he's like, okay, I get this. He wants to see how bad I want it. He's gonna make me do some chores first. Comes back the next day. Daniel has floors to sand. Daniel's son, sand the floor. So now Daniel is sanding the floors at Mr. Miyagi's house. He thinks he's done. He comes back tired. Now Daniel has to wax the cars. Daniel, with technique, a wax on, a wax off. Technique, a wax on, a wax off. Right? He's upset. He's been doing this the whole time. He comes back to Mr. Miyagi because the tournament is coming up, and he says, he curses at his mentor. How many times have we actually been frustrated with our mentor because we don't believe, based on our limited knowledge of the subject? I have to say that again. We don't believe, based on our limited knowledge of the master subject, that they're teaching us correctly. Side note, I remember being upset at my mentor, and I said, you know what, Ashlyn, I told our mentor, I said, you know what, you never launched me. You never launched me. I feel upset. I feel like I didn't have a launch document. I have leaders in my team pulling out launch documents. I'm like, we don't need to do that. I told my mentor, you didn't launch me. He said, did you get qualified? I said, yeah. He said, did you get to the first position? I said, yeah. He said, did you make your fast start bonus in your first 30 days? I said, yeah. And then he said, you've been launched. See, oftentimes We want it to be done our way, but we're not the expert. So he curses at his mentor. And Mr. Miyagi says, Daniel-san, show me a wax on, a wax off. Show me paint the fence. Show me sand the floor. And he asks him to show him all those things that Daniel doesn't know are techniques. And then the ninja, Mr. Miyagi, comes at Daniel-san at full-blown attack. He just comes at him. And then what happens? All of a sudden, Daniel turns into Neo from the Matrix. Doesn't even know what he's doing. And his body just starts just knocking away all the stuff. And he's looking at his hands like, oh my gosh, I know karate. I know karate. I know karate. Daniel was hungry. Daniel was getting his butt kicked in life. He said yes to a new opportunity. He made assumptions like all of us do in the beginning. He got his butt kicked again, realized he didn't know how to do it. He was coachable to his mentor, even though his mentor was doing it a way that he didn't necessarily want. It was uncomfortable to him. But because he did it anyway, he learned the technique. He won the tournament. And see, a lot of you are not allowing your mentor to help you win in the game. And so I wanted to share that because not every one of you can understand that. Most of us may not, not everyone has played video games. I know I was talking to Natasha about video games yesterday. How many of you have ever played video games before? Okay. So when you play a video game, I have this here for you. This is from an Xbox One, right? Does anyone know what this is? It's a controller. It's a controller, right? Now, if you take a look here at this controller, you see all these buttons on it. So you got all these different buttons. You got buttons here. You got buttons here. And when you start playing a game, when you first start playing a game, the first game so I played Halo. I didn't even know what it was. Okay. So I won a bet. I won an Xbox, right? This is way back. And my friend was so salty about losing the bet. He didn't even get me controllers. So he just gave me his Xbox. He's like, I'm not giving you controllers. You have to get your own controllers. And I said, oh, whatever. So I went to Fry's Electronics to pick up controllers and to pick up a game because he didn't give me any games either. This is horrible. So all the games at Fry's, they're all in green, the same color like Xbox green. But there was this one game that stood out. It was in gold. And I gravitated to it. And I'm like, what is this? Why is this game gold? And I picked it up. And it said, Halo, Game of the Year. I said, Game of the Year? That's probably pretty good. Okay, so I went and I said, I want this game and these controllers. I came home that day and I played that game. First of all, the game was so good. I didn't know what was going on. My eyes were burning towards a certain time. And I'm like, okay, I got to put this game down. Now I had started the game. It was daylight outside. And when my eyes started burning and I turned the game off, it was dark. So in other words, the game was really good. But before I could start the game, there was a certain tutorial. And the tutorial was on the controls. How to control your person in the game. Before I could play the game, I had to learn the controls. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? So anyone that's a gamer, my daughter's a gamer. She's a gamer, she's a diehard gamer. So you have to learn the controls. I've never met a gamer who got upset during the learning of the controls and said, through the controls said, I just can't learn the controls. I'm not gonna play this game. I'm just gonna continue playing the game that I play over and over and over again that I've already beaten. If you know anything about video games, the moment you beat the game, what do you wanna do? You wanna go find the next game. Is this true? Listen, you might wanna write this down. as human beings, our DNA is wired to solve problems and play games. You might not be a video gamer, but you might love to play board games with your kids. You might love to play word games. You might love to do puzzles. And we get addicted to games because it's in our code, it's in our DNA to solve problems or challenges. The reason why we don't play the game on easy the whole time is because there is no level of difficulty. If it's too easy, we don't like the game. You guys think I'm playing? You can Google it. The games that are too easy, they have no stars because they're too easy. There's no level of difficulty. In other words, you don't appreciate the win if there's no challenges. Guys, I hope you're following me. So you gotta learn the game. First, you got to learn the controls. So when I was playing Halo, the guy in the game's telling me what to do with my controller. I'm all excited. Now I get into the real gameplay, and an alien comes up to me, and I think I'm pressing the shoot button, but I press the wrong button, and the alien takes me out. Takes me out. Game over. I didn't put down the game and say, you know what? I can't believe I lost. This hurts too much. Losing hurts too much. I feel like rejected. No, I picked the controller back up. I'm like, all right, I know what I did wrong this time. I'm ready. And so when the alien came up to me, I pressed the shoot. I got him. Move on to the next part. Then I fall off a cliff because I don't know the joystick that well. And I'm like, oh man. So I do it again. Now I'm good on the cliff. Now I'm starting to get used to the controls. Now I think I'm good, but I'm playing on easy. Now I raise the level up of difficulty. And now I feel like I'm a gangster in this game. Can anyone relate to what I'm talking about? I used to play my brother. He's going to hear this. I used to play my brother Street Fighter. Street Fighter back in the day. He used to get home earlier than me on a Friday. My mom didn't let us play video games during the week. It was something as a reward for doing well during the week. And so my brother would get home, he'd be practicing on the Street Fighter, getting ready for me. And I'd come home, whoop his tail in Street Fighter. And he'd practice again. He never said, I don't play Street Fighter anymore. He just wanted to get better at the game. Here's the irony. There's no physical pain in ACN. None. No physical pain. There's no physical pain in the video game. If you win big in ACN, you're going to appreciate that because of the level of difficulty in the challenge. You win big in the game, you appreciate it too. The difference is you win big in the game of ACN, your reality is changed forever. You win big in the video game, you just get excited to brag with friends and learn a new game. In ACN, you've never played the game before, and before you can play, you got to learn the controls. What does that mean? You got to learn silly little scripts. You open to making extra money. Can you do me a huge favor? But what is it in ACN that we do that's actually physically hard? Nothing. Nothing. Listen, all of the pain you feel, most of it can be summed up with the assumptions that you made that are breaking down your communication to your success and the fear that you have. Fear isn't real. Write this down. Fear is an emotional response attached to anticipating a negative future event. Fear is an emotional response attached to anticipating a negative future event. What does that mean? It is a misuse or a misguided use of your imagination. It's the adult version of there being a monster in the closet when it's only a shadow and a shirt. It's not real. Your brain doesn't know the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. So your brain tries to protect you at all costs. But your soul, who you are, is the rider of the steed, and your body is the steed. The moment you can gain control of the body, the horse and the rider can go anywhere. You got to get control of your emotions. Those are the things that are stopping you. And if your emotions aren't in alignment, if your feelings aren't in alignment with your goals, you have to put your emotions and your feelings on pause. See, I heard greats like Mr. Gray Provenzano say, if your emotions aren't in alignment with your goals, ignore your feelings. I heard Jordan Adler say, if your feelings have nothing to do with your commitment, you got to focus on your commitment. I've heard people say, do what you're committed to long after the feelings you had when you made the commitment has left you. See, it's all about mastering your emotions and realizing what you're afraid of doesn't even exist. Here's how I know for a fact. If we say that there's no pain involved, if we say there's no physical pain involved, and you say to me you're afraid, and we know that fear is attached to what? Fear is an emotional response attached to anticipating a negative what? Future event. If it's in the future, it hasn't happened yet. So what's paralyzing you is your imagination about what might happen. 9 times out of 10, it never does. So what's really stopping you? See, this was just a extension of the thing we talked about on fear. There's nothing stopping you other than you. And when you realize that, you have to also realize this at the same time. You are the only one that can control you. So if you realize in the same sentence that the only person that's stopping you is you, and then you realize that you control you, then you can beat the game. And I really believe that all of you have already learned the controls, but I think you want to start following your mentor so that you can beat the game in ACN. And when you beat the game, you can take others with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this morning. I hope you got some value out of today's conference call. Mr. Thomas, I appreciate you allowing me to share it with you guys. I'll hand it over back to you, sir.
Oh my God. I don't know how many of these popped up, but I got private text messages. This is amazing. Mr. Lewis has just hit the ball out the park. Wow, wow, wow. 3 of those. You know, the Karate Kid was such a great, showing the form of how to wax. And so many times when your mentor is trying to give you information and you try to keep doing it the same way you've been doing it, like you said in the story, you can't win that way. And man, I appreciate you saying that. You know, how he did the floors and waxed the car, wax on, wax off. And all the time he was teaching him how to do karate when he got in the ring. And that's why he became a champion. In other words, folks, you could keep doing the things you've been doing it the way you've been doing it. You'll still have the same results, stuck in the same position. Or you can learn from the mentor or the karate or Mr. Miyagi and learn how to get to be a champion. I love that analogy. What a great story today. Now we have Harriet Tubman from 2 weeks ago. Last week, we had how to love yourself. This week we got the Karate Kid analogy. Man, being coachable was the topic. I love that. Staying home the last 14 years for the Darcy got involved. Folks, I don't know what more to say, but he dropped the mic several times on everybody. I got all these notes over here, and I know a lot of us are popping up here, but I got a lot of private messages and text messages on how great people love this call today. Sir, thank you so much. We cannot wait to hear you next Tuesday morning. Once again, bring another dynamite message. I don't know, between you and Mr. Tosh, y'all look like y'all just, and like a racehorse going and in a front runner, and yeah, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Once again, can we show Mr. Julian Lewis some love? Wow, wow, wow! What an amazing analogy, amazing storytelling. Tonight at 6 o'clock p.m., I'll be right back here doing a 1 through 10. Come on back with your guests for second, third look, fourth look, or beginning look. But I'll be doing the 1 through 10 tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. right back here on the Bat Channel, Bat Station. And thank you so much for that. Tomorrow morning from the home office of Vivid in Salt Lake City, Utah, our special guest speaker will be Mr. Anthony Miles Wood from the home office. And then on Sunday night's training, we have the home office from Spear on our call from the home office. These are home office calls. I love it. So thank you, Mr. Julian Lewis. Once again, I don't know how you're going to top next week. I don't know that. I mean, I got Harry Tubman, I got Love Yourself, and then I got the Karate. See, that stuff we can remember. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Get out there, be safe, but talk to somebody, get that list out, and get people on tonight at 6 o'clock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care. God bless from Japan, from Okinawa, also from Australia, New Zealand. Thank you so much. We want to thank all you folks around.